You believe that racism exists?
Yeah.
And what is your proof that racism exists?
The black maternal health crisis, medical apartheid, the fact that ain't no abortion clinics at the border, and they in black communities across America.
That's your proof that racism exists?
Yeah.
But nowhere does God say that racism exists. And so since God didn't say racism exists, he said that our battle is our battle is a spiritual battle. We wrestle not against flesh and blood.
I don't remember God saying abortion exists either, and it does.
But he said that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits. And with evil with compassion in high places, right? Wickedness. Mm-hmm. Why do you say racism exists when he said our battle is spiritual?
The same reason why I'm trying to fight to stop abortion and he ain't down here next to me with a sword.
But the battle, if people knew that it wasn't racism,
I'm not gonna tell somebody,
that it was spiritual, wouldn't they have a better chance to overcome it if they knew what the real problem was?
Well, first of all,
because
we gotta
racism
be honest.
is like a made-up word.
First of all, we gotta be honest. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. I mean, we have people, whether you white or whether you black, that have those same racist tendencies. For some reason, when you white, they call it racism. When you black, they call it colorism, okay? But it's the same thing. And there are people that intentionally hate people because of the color of their skin. There are people that intentionally hate people because of their choice of political party.
So why not call it hate and not call it racism? Because if you call it what it is, which is hatred, and that's what it is,
well, racism
then
is
they
formed
can
from
overcome.
hate.
They can overcome
if
hatred.
If you hate somebody just because they black, you racist.
No, that's hatred.
If you hate somebody because you're black, I'm agreeing with you. It is hate. But if you're hating somebody just because of the color of their skin, then you are a racist.
But have you noticed that they made up the word racism so they can divide and conquer the people, right?
And they also
because prior to the civil rights movement, there was no such word as racism.
But they also made Planned Parenthood and put them in our communities.
Made what now?
They also made Planned Parenthood and put them in our
communities. Because they hate the blacks.
They racist.
But why call it something other than what God called it?
Why they calling men women? I don't know why they do what the hell they do, but they doing it.
But amazing. Are you a Republican, you said?
Independent.
Oh, you're independent. Mm-hmm. Were you Republican at one time? Mm-hmm. And what made you go, you went from Democrat to Republican
to independent.
And why did you go from Republican?
All the hate I received when I accepted a job working for RFK from the Republican Party, all of the high-level Republicans that withdrew their support from Auntie Angie's house, I realized that they were more about party and were never about people. And I realized that they were just as hateful as the Democratic Party that I had just come from. And at the end of the day, we need to rise above these parties, focus on people, and focus on a policy that's best for us. So I never want to be in a space again where I can't work with people from my community because they're Democrat, or I can't work with people from my community because they're Republican. Because at the end of the day, politics is bipartisan. And when they're in there and they're in Congress and it's time for them to vote, everybody in there has to vote. Like, we have to come together, and being independent allowed me to work with Democrats and Republicans and actually sit down and have conversations and not hate each other and come up with solutions that work better for a diverse country.
So the Republican didn't like you because you were working with the save children from abortion? Are you saying that?
Well, what happened was people tied me to Trump because of the pardon. So when Trump gave me a pardon and he ran for office in his campaign, they weren't hiring for black engagement. And it was time for me to have a job. I had gotten pardoned. My name was cleared. It was time for me to step over into the next thing that God had for me. RFK offered me a job as a senior advisor on his campaign. And after about a month or so going back with Trump's campaign, I finally accepted the position from RFK. And when I did that, it made a lot of people upset. And they treated me very badly. And I didn't think that that was fair because, yeah, he gave me a pardon, but I can't survive, off of photo opportunities. I have to work. I have to have a job. And RFK was a friend of mine. He was somebody that I knew prior to him running for office. And I think that we allow parties to divide us when we need to be focused on the people.
Amazing. Should men marry educated women? Oh, do educated women make for good wives and good mothers?
It depends on how they're educated. Because if you getting a woman that's being educated at some of these public institutions right now, maybe not. Because these women don't want you, they don't want their children, they don't want their body parts. So it depends.
So you think that an educated woman can make for a good wife and a mother?
I mean, educated, when you say educated, educated on what? What are you talking about? Because we're talking about America that's full of indoctrination. Like, I've sent 2 of my daughters to public schools. They're very successful. One is at MIT. Another one is a Howard Law graduate. She's an attorney. She works for World Bank in New York. She does corporate law. But they both believe in abortion. That's not something that I taught at my home. So I may not necessarily agree with some of the ways that, our children or women of today are being educated.
Yeah, amazing.